Dairy farmers in Uganda are feeling the pinch of price fluctuations as the farm gate price for a litre of milk continues to decline. This is on account of trade protectionist policies imposed by Kenya, which go against the grain of the East African Customs Union.
The permits have not been granted by Kenya Dairy Board.
Brookside Dairy's general manager in Uganda, Benson Wanji, in a recent interview, revealed that these trade restrictions have resulted in a fall in farm gate prices from an average of 1,600 shillings to 550 shillings since the turn of the year. When I spoke to him, he explained how the cost of the non-tariff trade barriers trickle down to the farmer.
About a 60% reduction in revenue by the farmers. So this is not really encouraging to the farmers. Actually, we are hearing that some of them are venturing into other businesses. So it's really becoming uncertain to really plan with this kind of situation happening.
Kenya is yet to issue a letter on the ban of dairy products from Uganda, though Samson Akankiza, the acting executive director of the Dairy Development Authority, confirmed that they have reduced issuing export permits for powdered milk by over 20%.
So-called ban. It was just refusal of issuing import permits without any write-up, because after the clearance of the cabinet secretary that is not their position, Kenya Dairy Board was not releasing export permits to some of the exporters. So to that extent, then you cannot call it a ban because there is even no formal communication. So the engagements have been happening, and they have again resumed exports as of Monday, Tuesday this week. Consignments started moving, and actually we have seen volumes again growing to the market.
The last communication was issued in March 2023 when the Kenya Dairy Board revealed that they had planned to reduce imports as a result of anticipated rain, which would significantly boost local milk production. It read, "In anticipation of the long rains, government has stopped importation of milk powder to cushion the industry from surplus production and lower producer prices." But a few days later, Kenya suspended the ban as a result of the Regional Customs Union protocol, amidst fears that this may spark off a trade war. What could have led to the latest blockade?
The last time we got permits to export to Kenya was on the 19th of March. We have lodged permit applications with the Kenya Dairy Board. The permits stand in the country system at the moment is 116 permits. Okay? Up to now, we are going into the third month. The permits have not been granted by Kenya Dairy Board. No information is forthcoming as to why they are denying us to give us the permit.
Analysts believe that Uganda has become a pawn as the William Ruto-led government claws back against the business interests of his predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta.
We didn't have this go down before. What we have here is a surplus of the milk that we produced and we could not be able to export. We have a similar go down inside the factory. At the moment, I'm paying $12,000 every month to keep these stocks here. These stocks are almost 2 million kilos of powder, worth 16 billion Uganda shillings. If you put that money in a 3 months fixed deposit, I think I cannot get less than 15% per annum. So you can imagine the amount of money I'm losing by holding this stock here.
Brookside Dairies, which controls about a 45% stake in the Kenyan market, has also expanded its market after the purchase of plants in Uganda, Ethiopia, and Nigeria. In 2009, the Gulf area-based private equity firm Abraj Capital paid $18.7 million for a 10% shareholding in the business. And in 2014, French yogurt maker Danone paid an undisclosed sum to acquire a 40% stake in the business, as the Kenyatta family holds the majority 50% shares. Uganda's dairy sector continues to grow by leaps and bounds and was singled out during President Museveni's State of the Nation address on Wednesday this week, despite trade restrictions from its largest export market in Kenya.
About 200 staff on leave, effective 1st of June, because I'm not able to continue producing, because now there is uncertainty. The uncertainty is there. I continue producing, then what? Yeah.
So this staff work on the factory floor or in other other activities in the value chain?
The entire value chain. Because if you are not producing, ideally, the people who are in the field, the field officers, the people who are in the factory, the people who are in the logistics, they are all affected by this. Yes.
These are truck drivers.
The truck drivers, okay? We are talking about the people in the warehouse, the people on the factory, the people in quality, all those people are affected.
These recurring trade disputes have a rotating cast of targets. In 2019, Pearl Dairy, a major milk processor in Uganda and a firm President Museveni supplies with raw milk, was targeted. This followed allegations that its Lato milk products were substandard and that it was repackaging cheap imported milk powder from Austria, which attracted an import duty according to the rules of origin provision of the East African Community Customs Union. It is for this reason that Julius Byarhanga, Director of Policy at Private Sector Foundation Uganda, believes protectionism is at the heart of the trade disputes.
First of all, we've actually put out a number of statements as regards Kenya's what we actually call unfair trade practices with Uganda. That wouldn't be, that is of course not the only case, even as recent as in this month, we are still dealing with 80 companies which have been exporting powdered milk in Kenya not being given permit. It's a very common practice which normally surfaces in some cases for certain political reasons. In other cases, when they have print of milk in Kenya, they will try to find a way of stopping our milk from entering, of course, based on policy reasons.
The World Trade Organization has specific trade defense instruments meant to protect the integrity of international trade and guard against unfair trade practices, which include anti-dumping, countervailing, and safeguard measures. But as a result of the customs union, the East African Community Partner States are restricted from invoking the World Trade Organization trade remedies and safeguards dispute settlement processes when it comes to trade remedies and safeguards relevant to disputes between the partner states.
So the conversation here should be, as a member state, okay, the protocol is very clear that free movement of goods, free movement of people. Why this blockade? We should be talking about enriching the community, going steps ahead into what we call in full integration. But with the blockades that are happening, we need to ask ourselves, why are we not adhering to the spirit of the East Africa community?
Ugandan dairy products remain in demand in Kenya. According to a media report that cited data from the Central Bank of Kenya, for the period of January to March 2023, imports from Uganda, including dairy products, eggs, sugar and wood, amounted to 10.62 billion Kenyan shillings, an increase of 34% year on year. This has been paradoxically attributed to trade diplomacy, spearheaded by President William Ruto, aimed at removing trade barriers on the continent. Evidently, these mixed signals from Nairobi indicate that there's an attempt to wrap the latest trade punches in a velvet glove. This suggests that the trade barriers are politically motivated, but ultimately it is the Ugandan dairy farmer who's feeling the pinch in his pockets. Ben Twine, the chair of the Livestock Development Forum, explains.
Farm gate price is low, but the cost of other farm inputs does not change, and sometimes has increased because of post-COVID effect and other economic challenges. Yeah, so you can. It's not static. Pasture seeds are not static. The price isn't static. The acaricides, the price isn't static. The dewormers, the price isn't static. Vaccination, price isn't static. The breeding kits, AI, the semen, and the AI services, not static. They keep increasing. But if the farm gate price is low, then I can't meet the demand. Yeah.
Given that the fallout of these unfair trade practices cost 40,000 jobs across the dairy value chain in Uganda in 2019 alone, Kampala has grown weary of these recurring trade disputes with Nairobi. Rebecca Kadaga, East African Affairs Minister, has publicly threatened to retaliate.
Therefore, the Minister of Agriculture is going to identify which products to ban from Kenya. We have been very patient. We have behaved like gentle people, but this has gone on for too long.
Typically, these trade disputes have been resolved through diplomacy, although given the growing trend of protectionism in the East African region, retaliatory action cannot be ruled out. These protectionist tendencies contradict the ideals of the customs union. The main objective of the customs union is the formation of a single customs territory. Therefore, free trade is at the core of the customs union. It is within this context that internal tariffs and non-tariff barriers that could hinder trade between the partner states have to be eliminated in order to facilitate the formation of one large single market and investment area. Similarly, policies relating to trade between the partner states and other countries, such as the external tariffs, have to be harmonized. Uganda's milk farmers enjoy a comparative advantage with more arable land, silage, and reliable rainfall across the cattle corridor compared to Kenya. Dairy products made from unprocessed milk originating from Uganda are exempt from import duty and are able to retail at lower prices. So for the price-sensitive Kenyan consumer, Ugandan dairy products, which are cheaper than Kenyan dairy products, are in demand. Increasing the farm gate price will likely erode this comparative advantage. This is why Ben Tweeney asserts that farmers have to strengthen their collective bargaining.
Say how much does the farmer get for a liter? Right now, it's in most areas it's between 400 to 500. Yeah, and that's quite unfair. But you ask yourself, why is it 400, 500 at the farm level, which you call the farm gate prices, and it is 3,000 on the shelf? Why? Meaning that the market, here there's no bargaining power.
Kenya buys $138 million worth of dairy products from Uganda. Typically, about 4/5 of Ugandan dairy exports were destined to Kenya. But as the trade restrictions continue to affect sales to the neighboring state, Uganda has sought markets elsewhere, including the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, and Sudan. Uganda has also exported some dairy products to the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Syria, and India, mainly UHT milk, milk powder, butter, ghee, and other butterfat-based products. Access to these newer markets requires infrastructure investment that is yet to materialize. As such, the Kenyan market remains integral, as Samson Akankiza reveals.
True, it is our big market, and the issue of protecting their farmers does not arise because looking at their consumption per capita, they are at 110 and they produce 3.9 billion liters of cow milk because they have other milks from goat and camel. But if you look at only cow milk, they really have a deficit of about 2 billion. And what are we asking? We're asking to export there because 70% of our export goes to around 700 million liters per year. So that translates into about 21% of their market cap.
To offset the risks of trade restrictions, there's a drive underway to increase domestic consumption of dairy products, targeting school-going children in Uganda, as Ben Tweeney explained.
Yeah, we have 15 million children in schools. These children actually access milk 3 months in a year when they are home. Those are the 1 month span of a holiday. The last 9 months, all 9 months, they're in school. And what do they access? they access splash, they access sodas, they access all these unhealthy drinks, all sugars and all that. Yeah, why? Because the liter of milk at a school canteen is still 3,000, and this student want to actually buy a drink and a chapati.
Dairy farmers have recently had to contend with an outbreak of foot and mouth disease and droughts that have impacted the availability of pasture, leading to a rise in the costs of milk production. In response, farmers lobbied the government to intervene, as Ben Twine recounts.
Our intervention, MAIF was procuring 1.5 million doses of vaccine, FMD vaccine. And when we intervened and basically requested that FMD be treated as an epidemic, there was a budget increment, a supplement to MAIF, and right now they've been able to procure 3.5 million doses.
The increasing costs of production borne by farmers are a threat to their livelihoods as farm gate prices continue to fall. It is in the interest of the entire value chain that these costs are reduced or subsidized, even as farmers strengthen their collective bargaining power for higher farm gate prices. The East African Competition Authority needs to be prioritized to ensure unfair trade practices are curtailed and to prevent tit-for-tat non-tariff barriers from disrupting free trade in the East African community.